So, who in the room has heard of ShowingTime before, or Showing Desk? So, ShowingTime is the name of our company. Showing Desk is our office software. It's used in I think we have over 200 offices on Long Island that use Showing Desk, and it's a software that's used by the receptionist, usually, or a floor time agent, to keep track of all the appointment calls that have come into the office, the calls that have been made to the homeowner to let them know about a showing and who's called back, that sort of thing. About 2 years ago, we got into a second business, and that was the Appointment Center service. So at our Appointment Center services for companies that would like to have a third party handle their appointments for them instead of the front desk staff. And we actually, it's as if you're hiring us to become your front desk staff to handle all of your appointments for you. So what I'm going to do in just about a 10 or 15 minute quick overview is talk about that service offering and why it's a little bit different from the one that many companies are using already in the market. We've got about 30 companies that have switched from using our software to using our Appointment Center service. I usually start out with a quick review of how appointments are scheduled, because even in Long Island, I know that depending on which market you're in, showings are managed in different ways. Sometimes, in most of the parts of Long Island, the front desk office staff will receive the appointment calls from showing agents that want to make an appointment. And if they catch the call when the office is open and the property is vacant, sometimes they'll confirm it right away. So the yellow arrows are just kind of the communications between the different parties. If a call is required to a homeowner, typically that office staff will call the homeowner and ask them if that appointment time is okay. But of course, this process breaks down after 6 p.m. at night, because for most companies it doesn't make economic sense to staff the office until 11 o'clock at night. This is one of the reasons we opened up the Appointment Center, and I'll come back to that. But anyway, so typically the office staff handles the appointments for all the listings in the office. In the eastern parts of Long Island, I know oftentimes the listing agent handles their own showings. That's typically how it's done if the listing agent attends the showing every time, or if it's a small company and they just don't have an office staff and the agents do it themselves. We see that pretty frequently. The third type of situation is when the listing agent puts the seller's phone number in the MLS. I know that's less common in Long Island, but occasionally we see it if it is a limited service broker or a kind of a for sale by owner, but they list the property in the MLS for a flat fee. We originally started our business by providing Showing Desk, and that was just for serving those offices that had a receptionist managing the appointments. We've got our Showing Assist product integrated into Stratus that allows agents to make appointments online through the MLS. And then more recently, we launched this Appointment Center service, whereby we handle all the appointments for the offices. So that's what I'm going to go through today, just in a little bit more information. But if you've heard of us before, we've actually got 4 product lines. Showing Desk is the one that's really common, and I'm going to focus the next few minutes on the Appointment Center service. Now, why would somebody switch from handling the showings themselves, using our office software, Showing Desk, or having the agents handle the appointments? What are the major reasons that they would go to a third party handling the appointment calls for them? The biggest one is that brokers and listing agents want to make it as easy as possible for people to schedule showings on their listings. And oftentimes, the buyer's agent doesn't, if they're busy with clients, they may not get to the appointment scheduling process till the end of the day when the receptionist has gone home for the day. And that makes it harder for those people to make appointments, because they either got to call and leave a voicemail that'll get returned the next morning, or they've got to wait until the next day to schedule their showings. So it can be pretty difficult if the only time you can make appointments is during normal business hours. And they want to do those appointments in the evenings. Staffing an appointment desk is expensive. The most expensive thing for the typical real estate company is the staff people that run the office. And it's particularly expensive if you've got full-time people doing it during the week and then part-time people on weekends, which is typically how it works. If you want to keep the office open late at night, it's even harder to staff the office to cover the appointments into the late hours. Not to mention the management headaches. A lot of people overlook the amount of time that an office manager or broker will spend hiring new people, training them, managing people that call in sick, trying to coordinate the appointment desk, if there's an all-company meeting, if it's a busy day, you know, sometimes it's very difficult to justify adding a second person, but we know from experience that on Fridays and Saturdays, there are times when multiple appointment calls will come in at the same time. It's another reason why it's difficult for brokers to do themselves. Listing agents are often too busy. If they're handling their appointments themselves and they're with another client and their phone is ringing, they'll often let that call go into voicemail. That's another thing that makes it hard for the showing agent to coordinate a showing on that listing. But everybody wants to have activity reports. You want to have feedback. You want to have reports to show to your client that tell them whether their home is priced properly, or if it hasn't gotten an offer, why it hasn't gotten an offer. So the solution that we've come up with is our appointment center service. And the idea is that agents will make appointments with us instead of the listing office. So the listing office will put our phone number, 800 showing, as the showing phone number on the listing. We answer the phone in 10 seconds. We're open 7 days a week, 363 days a year, so we're just closed for 2 days, from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. It is almost impossible for an office to keep their phone lines open until 11 o'clock every night to handle showing appointments. And you might be wondering, well, why do I need to keep the office open till 11? You know, when most people call during the day. And the reason is the sellers. Frequently, when we make appointment calls to the homeowner to let them know that an appointment has been made and we get a voicemail, it's frequently because they're working late or they're out for dinner or for whatever reason, they can't get back to return the call to the appointment center until the evening. So when we're open to 11, it is an enormous convenience for that seller to be able to call us back at 10:30 at night and get a hold of somebody live to say, yes, tomorrow morning at 9 works great for that appointment request. And we will complete the process, call the showing agent back and confirm the showing when most companies are closed for the day. So there's a huge marketing advantage for companies that outsource the service to us. The answer time is another thing. We never put people on hold. We've got multiple people that can pick up the phone simultaneously. So there's a much better efficiency to make it convenient for the agent who's trying to book an appointment on a listing that we're supporting. The next step is to contact the homeowner. This is another way that we can do it probably a bit more efficiently than an office that's doing it themselves. Because we'll contact the homeowner, we can email them, call them, or send them a two-way text message. And a lot of people, I don't know if you guys do much text messaging, but one thing that's really nice about text messaging, if you're busy doing something else, or you're with somebody else and you get a text message, you're not going to pick up, or you get a phone call, you're not going to pick up the phone and interrupt the person you're with. And if it goes to voicemail, it's inconvenient to go in and listen to the voicemail only to hear that you've got somebody who wants to call you back. With a two-way text message, the homeowner can get the text message, respond to us, they type Y. That goes back into our system. It's read by the software, and the notification to the showing agent goes out immediately. It's difficult to build that technology in-house, but we've built it into our appointment center software. So typically when appointments are scheduled through the appointment center, they're confirmed much more quickly, making it easier for those homes to be shown as part of the buyer tour. Any questions so far? Once we get a confirmation from the homeowner, we send an instant notification to the showing agent. We found that most of the time when those calls go to the showing agent, they go into voicemail anyway because the agent who sees that coming in is typically with another client. So we very frequently will text message them, send them an email if they prefer to have an email notification, or if they want a live phone call, we send out an automatic phone call to them. And if you've ever made an appointment with somebody that's using our service in Long Island, there's about 25 companies that are using this in the market so far, you will get an automatic phone call back. And you might be thinking, well, why don't they call me live? Why is there an automatic call being made? The reason we do it is because it goes out much faster than if a human were doing it. If a traditional call center that's managing your showing appointments will need to wait until somebody gets free in order for that outbound call to be made. But sometimes that buyer's agent with a client is in their car in front of the home hoping that they hear back from you quickly. With our process, the call goes out instantaneously to the agent to tell them that their appointment is confirmed. And along the way, the listing agent gets email notifications, they get updates. We send feedback out to the showing agent 1 hour after the appointment has occurred. And if they miss the first one, it resends it automatically, and the agent can set that up to be done exactly how they want. Any questions about how that works? Say that one other big difference in our appointment center offering is when we contact the homeowner, we do it in a private labeled way. So traditional call centers will call the homeowner and they will say it's the such and such showing service calling. We will call the homeowner and say, this is the Prudential Appointment Desk calling with the showing on your listing for tomorrow at 3, or whatever the company's name is. And then when they call us back, we use caller ID to identify them, and we know how to answer the phone, and we continually reinforce the brand of the company that we're supporting, which is a big deal. I think we're the only ones in the industry that do it that way. And we give that option to the company. Yes, ma'am. Blocked by us, so we can't. Here's how it works. When we sign up a new company, in the MLS they put our central phone number. So when we see calls coming in that are dialing our central phone line, we know it's a buyer's agent calling. But from the company side, to call the homeowner, we give a different phone number to the homeowner. So we'll assign a phone number that when we call the homeowner, if we don't get them live to get an answer about the appointment request, we say, please call us back at this unique number. And that number is unique to each company that we support. When that phone line rings, so it's not a caller ID that we use. So even if it's blocked, we see that it's a specific phone line that's ringing, and we know which company that phone line is assigned to. And that tells the software to tell the person that answers the phone, answer the phone with the name of that company. So even if they've got a caller ID block, we can tell. Good question. Yes, ma'am. To cancel, we can do cancellations. We also will reschedule. I said that we do an automatic notification. That's if the answer is yes. If the answer from the homeowner is 2 o'clock's no good, how about 3? Or if the homeowner calls and cancels, we make those phone calls live to the showing agent. Yes. Good question. It's not a real simple, straightforward answer because there are different things that we do depending on the situation. For example, if it is a short notice showing request, we have a thing set up in our system that tells the appointment center it's less than 2 hours away. So if they don't get through on the first one, it will create a reminder for them to try again more quickly. If the appointment is for 2 days away, then the homeowner would be irritated by getting multiple calls within 30 minutes. So it tells them to space the calls out wider. So there's a kind of a whole algorithm built into the system to retry. But that being said, that's a very good reason for why whenever we take an account, we try to get multiple phone numbers from the homeowner, and better yet, because people don't answer their phone all the time, better yet, we get their email address or their permission to send them a text message, so we get much quicker showing confirmations that way. Okay? We typically, it depends on the situation. Again, when you say if many hours have passed, but do you mean before the showing still? We will keep trying until we get a positive confirmation that that agent has gotten either a voicemail if they asked for a voicemail or an email if they said email was okay. But if it's a complicated one, I'd be happy to talk to you privately afterwards, because I know that this is our whole business, is complicated scenarios of how to get a hold of people. But it's worked out quite well. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you for asking. We have the ability to sign up. We know sometimes the broker will decide for the whole company. We have multiple pricing models for a broker to choose from. If an individual agent wants to sign up on their own, we've got 2 agent plans as well. So an agent that's always got listing might be on one plan to pay a flat monthly fee. An agent that just gets a listing once in a while might want to just pay for the service when they get a listing. Okay. Last couple of things I'll show you here are just a couple of screenshots of the additional information. This is the showing confirmation email that goes to the showing agent. So when they make an appointment, they get an instant, as soon as we hear from the homeowner, we send them a showing confirmation email with the listing company's logo, a photo of the property. It annotates that the appointment is confirmed. If there are any showing instructions that have been entered by the listing agent into the system, they will get delivered in the body of this email to the showing agent, such as, watch out for the German Shepherd in the garage. It will provide them with the contact information of the listing agent at the footer of the email so that it's a nice reference tool if they want to get a hold of that person. The listing agent also gets emailed every time an appointment is confirmed on one of their listings, because we know if the appointments are being taken by a third party, they might not have as much visibility as to the process that's going on. So every time we complete the cycle, we send them an email. Again, it's got all the details of the showing that we scheduled, and we give them a detailed history of all the phone calls that were made by us to make that appointment. 5-minute warning. So that's included in it. For every appointment I mentioned, there's a feedback request, and this is all automatic without the office doing anything. So 1 hour after the appointment has occurred, it will send an email to the showing agent asking them to tell us how it went. And there'll be multiple choice questions on that. And that multiple choice question feedback form, we've got a default set of questions, but the agent can go in and set their preference of questions. They can add additional questions. They can remove them. They can add extra comments. Sometimes we see a recruiting message in the end, would you like to work for our company? We see all kinds of crazy things. But that will be sent out immediately after the showing. And then if the agent wants it to automatically retry when appointments have not been received, it will do that. We get about a 70% response rate for feedbacks that are sent from our system. I think that's in a large part to the fact that we've got many companies in Long Island using this. So when they get this feedback, they know that it's legit and it's not a spam or some other kind of system. But this has been very successful for capturing information on showings. And I will just mention as a testimonial, I had to sell a property in Chicago last fall, and of course my agent used our products to manage all of our appointments. And it was the feedback responses that we got from the system that told us, we got an email every time new feedback was received, and it would graph the results of the responses to the questions. And my wife and I were constantly discussing, at the end of the contract, should we try another agent? We haven't got an offer yet. The reason we stuck with our agent until we finally got the offer was because we repeatedly got agents coming through saying, great showing, the home was spotless, but it's overpriced. And getting that in writing is a very powerful thing, and we ultimately decided that the way to sell the home was to lower the price. Something you guys all know, but just to tell you from the perspective of the seller, it's much more compelling if you've got responses from other agents rather than your own telling you that the property is overpriced. So it wasn't an issue of whether he was doing a good job. So, and then other activity on the listing is also in the report. These are just kind of backup slides. When an agent logs in, they can get into a system where they can set the preferences online. So anywhere where you can get on the internet, if you've got an iPad, agent can get online, change their showing instructions, add special requirements for the property to be shown, whether it should be confirmed instantly, or if there's a new phone number for the homeowner for us to call, all built right into the system so you can do it on the fly. Thanks everybody for your time again. Oh, one more question. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. There is an automatic system built in that the agent can turn off if you don't want it to happen automatically, but if your listing is with one of our products, we will send out an automatic price reduction notification to all the agents within your own company, plus any agent that has showed your listing previously, regardless of what company they're at. So when they make an appointment, on your listing through the software, whether it's the Appointment Center or Showing Desk, if you do a greater than 1% price reduction, it will automatically send them a notice telling them about it. And you can also go in manually and send messages to people. Our agent did that. We had somebody come by that we thought was sure to make an offer on our home, and we never got the offer, and he went back into the system and sent reminders of that to the showing agent with our photo on it. So I want to thank everybody for your time. We're at booth 53. We'd be happy to field any additional questions or more details about it during the next time you're on the conference floor, and have a terrific day. Thank you.